What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 28 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Tiktaq'to Immortal Empires expanded campaign. So as we saw last time, some stuff happened, none of it in terms of importance or in terms of pure size, as important as the fact that we saw the Thunder Lizard summoned in one of our expedition armies. It was absolutely glorious and absolutely massive, and I can't wait to build the thing ourselves, or recruit the thing ourselves as soon as we can, and well, as soon as we get the expedition completed. So let's keep moving on the way towards that. Now, is there anybody else that still needs to move around? Onzianam, I had an idea about what we could do with you, and that is to see whether we can catch purple. Okay, here, so we're going to send you like this. Then we are going to well, we'll level you up in a second, but let's move everybody else around because reasons. Tlashbok, I mean, you can keep attacking these places, but the auto-resolve won't let you somehow. I'm almost tempted to move you this way instead. And maybe we got one more turn until you can be replaced with the... or the lord that holds this army can be replaced, but what we can also do is give you Lord Croak as soon as we're done here. Now, Tic-Tac, you are... oh, you're in range of this. Oh, what the heck? Why didn't I just... okay, I don't know. We'll deal with you in a second, because they might fight... well, actually, we'll have to take a look at what they've got in their actual army. Mazdamundi, you... okay, wait. Izozyme, you're going to briefly grab a few of the units here, namely all of the... what the heck are you doing? Okay, I don't know. It keeps doing that. It did that the last couple of episodes too. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, Mazdamundi, I would like you to max speed it. I mean, I suppose I could have just given these troops to this guy instead. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You know what? Both of you go here. And you gotta have some stuff transferred. Oh, I should have probably used Mazdamundi's construction reduction while we were here. Not that it's a massive construction reduction or makes a massive difference or anything like that, but, you know, all stuff that can be built like so. Beacon of Dawn. Oh, right, I remember this thing. Probably the most useless landmark, but we're gonna build it just because. Maybe one of the modders will eventually change it to be not garbage, but, you know. It's a tall order, I guess. Anyway, now that we've done that, we've had the rite of Tonki up and running, or available for a long time now, and we haven't had the opportunity to use it, so I think we're going to use it shortly. First of all, Tic-Tac, you're going to go after Mr. Tretchy. And I was talking last episode about how Tretch's defeat trait might not be the most useful to Tiktaq'to, but I had a, I don't know, not quite a change of heart, something of an idea at the very least. Anyway, you are going to go here, and we are then going to pop off that rite of Tonki and give everybody back their movement. Alright, doubling the turn effectively. Then we will kill Mr. Tretch, who ran because his army is weak and not worth fighting, apparently. I know that we've been auto-resolving specifically with Tic-Tac's army a lot lately, but let's face it, we've seen his army demolish pretty much every other army that they've come in contact with, and with an army that has basically 4 units that are anti-tier, 6 units. Not enough units that are anti-tier or any kind of threat, and especially because they're not even a full stack, there's just no need of it. Now, oh wow, we got a lot more damage. Okay, maybe I should have fought that, my bad. Well, too late now. Yeah, that was tremendously damaging. Go figure. And the healing is barely anything. Well, whatever. What can you do? Tic-Tac, did you actually level to 50? No, you leveled to 40, but it was close. And I take it now you wouldn't be able to auto-resolve the Sentinels without taking damage? Oh, wow, you could go all the way down to Black Fortress from here, which is also actually, funnily enough, pretty poorly defended, eh? Well, Tlashbok, go here. And yeah, there's a reason I figured that the speed might be worth our time / worth our while. Are you still... okay, Teto Echo, go to Darkhold. We'll maybe have Tlashbok take the Sentinels and Tic-Tac take Black Fortress then. I assume that there isn't a full stack here. There is not. And yeah, Grimgor's back and going after Imric again. We will auto-resolve... oh no, it'll kill off the Cloud of Teeth. Okay, yeah, that's what I get for auto-resolving. Okay, we're gonna manually fight this. I'm just gonna max speed it. There's like 5 guys in the settlement, so we'll just send a few of our healthier units over the walls and to kill them, while all the other units just sort of sit around and take no damage. It'll take like 30 seconds. Alright, the loading might actually take longer. Alrighty, Alright, all of you units go into this corner, actually go into this corner right here, where you won't be of any kind of issue. All of you go here, I'll go here. Okay, did I not? Go here, here, and here. Then we'll take the healthy units and deploy them like so. And I guess we can move Tiktaq'to in. Are you a flying skink chief? No, you're a dino skink chief. Alright, go here. Do we want to bring the shock and awe guys? They're probably not needed. Alright, you guys are good enough, I believe. And the mage is also... Wait, we don't have a mage in this army, right? Start deployment, start battle, go. Max speed, go, go, go. Oh, we can also summon Ripperdactyls. Let's summon them on top of... I don't really care. There we go, and let's get a couple of you going right here. You guys go kill that catapult, please. You dropped Comet of Cassandora on it. Let's separate you all. Tic-Tac, you're going to go find and kill the enemy lord, such as it is. And then, yeah, everybody go here. Alright, Ripperdactyls. Maybe you go after the enemy catapult as well. In fact, you know what, you guys can help out with this. Tic-Tac can just do his thing, buff himself up while he's in there. There we go, the enemy thing is destroyed. Ripperdactyls go after this now. Max speed should allow us to kill the enemy pretty quickly. Tic-Tac, you're good. And, alright, all these enemy units are dead. Go find other units and then kill them too. Alright, you guys go here. You go here. Yeah, and this is exactly what would have happened with Trudge Craventail's army as well if we had fought him, but... his defeat rate, I think, will actually come in handy. Contrary to what I was thinking earlier. Okay, guys, if you could just blob up for me, that would be freaking lovely. Tic-Tac, go kill that. It'd be nice when you have your recovery as well, and there we go. Yeah, auto-resolve, silly, just absolutely silly. And then the battle, and then the battle. I wonder if we can get a little bit of healing out of occupying this particular location. Also, if we kill Grimgor here, he should be then moving northward, as in this is his only territory down here, so maybe we can send one of the other armies to deal with him. I wonder where we should send Tic-Tac in particular. Zharna Grund is a possibility, but it's usually a bugged battle, which means, well, I mean, you can probably force them out into the field, especially since the auto-resolve doesn't quite understand how powerful Tic-Tac's army is. Tic-Tac's army is. It's 1%, useless. And just occupied regular. Like so, free stun standard to Chotek, though always a nice find. Now, Tlashbok, okay. This is what I was talking about. So, Tic-Tac is up to 140 speed. He's actually by far the slowest unit in his army, which isn't actually that bad because of a couple of things. If we do, Agility of the Lizard and then Expeditious Endeavor, we can get him up to 65, which is pretty fast. But then, what if we give him the Accursed Armor? It'll only take him down to 115 speed. He's not that slow. Granted, he loses 20 melee attack, but his melee attack actually rises by 10 in every battle thanks to the Eye in the Heavens ability. So it's not really that big of a swing, and it gives him almost 300 armor, plus makes him insanely tanky, which does kind of amuse me, I gotta say. And if we really wanted to give him more speed, we could even give him a, where is it? Not the Sun Standard of oh, you actually do need a Sun Standard of Chotek in your army now that I think about it. Your healing is maxed out, I take it? I'm just wondering whether we actually need this Hibernation Attendant. Probably not. Alright, lose the Hibernation Attendant and get a Sun Standard of Chotek. I was originally meaning to put one in your army anyway, because your army has a tendency to blob. But anyway, what I was saying was we can give him a banner of swiftness if we wanted to as well, to speed him up even further, should we desire not to use the bolstered armor thing. Wait, does this affect yourself or does it only affect nearby units, I wonder? Well, either way, we'll keep him at his current speed. 115 with the 288 armor is kind of it amuses me, so I'm happy with that. And we'll go with that for now, and then we'll give the scintillating shield then to Mazdamundi so that he can have a huge barrier. Magic items and scintillating shield instead of the gambler's armor. There we go. Now he's got 4,000 barrier. And through other items, we might potentially get it even higher than that, so there is that. Anyway, everybody else can now move once more, and oh, I had besieged this. I guess you're not moving. I mean, I guess we could go and take... wait. This isn't a walled settlement. We could just straight up attack this. Or we could break the siege and then besiege this place and have them sally out so that we can take the more important territory. With the Black Dragon and all that. Huh. I wonder if that would be the better option here. Maybe it would be. Alright. Break siege. We can obviously win this right now. Yeah, I should have just attacked this and then we could have moved on to that immediately, but oh well. We can actually auto-resolve this, funnily enough. Break siege, and then go after Morakot instead. Much more important. And it's a green territory as well, so we'll capture tier 4 down where there's jungle, and that's just great. We'll also level you up while we're at it. You have... oh, 1 point. 1 point, not so much. I guess we can start going through Predatory Fighter. You're on an Ancient Steg now, though... once we have the... once we have the Manticuda Riders to replace the Pterodon Riders, I probably will replace you. In that regard. Put you back on the Ripperdactyl just because I feel like, I don't know, it's the giant lizards are not working for me in terms of the nautical theme. At least the non-nautical lizards. Anyway, Izozyme, stay there, you're good as you are. Washti, now you are missing your Oracle and possibly a healer if we want a healing dino on top of the Saurus warriors. I'll think about it. Either way, you're gonna travel. You know what? Start march dancing. You're just gonna... we put you at Monument... you know what? Let's put you at the Monument of the Moon. The Oracle would have to travel to your army anyway. Or Oracles, if we don't want to double up. Maybe we just want to double up on the Oracles. Might work better. Anyway, Tyrannicon, you are missing another Oracle as well. Wait, are you? What do we have here? Colossodon Rex, yada yada. No, you're missing another Saurus Scarvet, which you will pick up here. So, you can actually start sailing and meet him out there somewhere. Maybe land out here and then get ready to attack these guys in a little bit. I do want to try out the Helic Riders, but they can wait. Alright, Gor-rok. Now, there's a couple of things I want to do with you. First of all, we now have an Oracle that I guess will pop into your army, because that'll add a little bit of healing to you. And then we were going to lose the Skink Chief and replace it with either... we could get the Basti with the Reeve of Crystals. Well, I was about to say a third one, but maybe not. Let me just see here. What do we have in terms of Duradon available? Where are they here? We have 5. Okay, that's fine. That works. Because 4 of them, 1, 2, 3... well, actually, let's say 3 for now. We'll go to Mazdamundi, depending on how much space for other things he has. Yeah, let's do 5. Or 4, rather. I just figure this will allow him some, just counting as to what else we want to put into this army. I should allow him some leeway, but anyway, he'll have the C-beams, but I wanted the regular one because it provides the bolster defense. I assume that's the only dino that provides us that, just to double check that there doesn't anything else. We have bolstered leadership from you, and nothing else bolstery from any of you guys. What about the higher versions? Blessed versions, I mean. Any bolstered defense from here? I see bolstered marksmanship, I see bolstered nothingship, you have nothing, and no, alright, so Gor-rok then to increase the defensive capabilities even further, and I note that there's no charge defense whatsoever on the Cherubin, meaning, yeah, there's value out of that guy. So Skink Chief, you were valuable here, I'm sure, but you're out now. And regular Duradon in. Just out of curiosity, does... Yeah, okay, Beast Driver still buffs you, and Epicentrist, I presume, does so as well? Yes it does. Fantastic. What's the range on this thing, by the way? It's only 40, I take it, so it'll only be able to buff 3, but, you know, it would be better to have 2 of these guys, but I don't think we have a room in his army right now. Not Soulbound, but Epicentrist, and... no, 50 meters. Huh, maybe it will reach multiples. Anyway, the next thing we'll want to do is level you up, so let's go for Divinatory... No. Well... maybe Divinatory Authority, but then Earthblood. That's the main thing. Do we want a second level in Earthblood, or maybe a little bit of Flock of Doom for damage? Harmonic Convergence for emergencies? You have Fearless, so you can spam Harmonic Convergence basic level a lot, and use that to constantly activate Wild Heart and Life Bloom. It might even be more valuable than having the Earthblood cheaper. Then we'll have your 2 Saurus guys get, I'm gonna say, Ferocity of Age, and... let's go Training. Might as well max it out and Ferocity of Age. I mean, we will get these, obviously, as well, but like so. And then lastly, the Skink Priest. Technically 2 casters, but I want the healing for more defensive capabilities. What do we want to do with you? I mean, yeah, we could still use Amber Spear. Alright, and then the thing that I want to do with Mr. Gor-rok, now that his army is complete, unless we swap this Durodon out, but I'm pretty sure we'll keep it as it is to finally do the Shield of the Aeons. It's been waiting for a while. What do we have here? Balance of power is surprisingly high still. Huh, interesting. Alright, well, I assume this is a toughie. Once again, the time has come for the Great White Lizard to rid the sacred jungles of Lustria of those degenerate elements that are not part of the Old One's great plan. Itza is currently under siege from Luther Harkin's undead pirate crews and his army of vermin mercenaries, truly the foulest examples of the exceptionally foul Skaven race and that the Great White Lizard has ever set eyes upon. As is to be expected from a hardened seaborne pirate, Harkin's force is strong in artillery and has already created several breaches in Itza's ancient walls. Now, Gor-rok's only option is to prepare for the inevitable assault and trust that Nakai the Wanderer will arrive in time to lift the siege. Is Nakai, can you even predict where Nakai is going to show up? I don't think you can, but anyway. Teleport, I didn't realize he was in a stance. Now let's get him his shield, shall we? Alright, so we... oh wow, more reinforcements expected, eh? That's a lot of stuff. Oh, this is looking like it's going to be a fun battle. Oh, we got some elite reinforcements as well. Ancient Stag, the Ancient Engines of the Gods. Huh. Oh. Wait, this isn't the one where we have to try to keep the Slan alive, is it? It isn't, is it? Because we don't have fast movers in this army. I am somewhat concerned here, I gotta say. Well, I guess we'll figure it out. Let's give it a try. Gor-rok's arrival at Itza was a timely one. Luther Harkin, the self-proclaimed king of the Vampire Coast, has somehow managed to wrangle together an eldritch army consisting not only of his rotting undead pirate crew, but also a cohort of verminous, screeching Skaven. Alrighty, here we go, and yes indeed, this was the quest battle I remembered, suspected, and was wary of. Every time there's a sort of an escort quest type quest battle, not maybe, okay, more so the Gotrek and Felix quest battle is an escort quest. But this too, we have to keep the Slan Mage Priest of Fire and Nakai alive. Nakai I'm maybe worried a little bit less about because he's very tanky and he does have at least one, he has one Dread Saurian with him, but it'll be a bit until Nakai gets brought down, even if he gets charged. Less so, I can say, for the Slan Mage Priest of Fire. But anyway, we've got a force arrayed against us as well, and we are going to keep about 2/3 of our entire army here to deal with it. We're going to set up our turtle guns to counteract the enemy weapons teams, which I think should be a pretty good use for them. Turtle guns, especially when set up with the stabilized 25% range, increasing them to 250, are basically at the same range as a beam of Chotek would be, and can fire pretty decently well. Luckily for us, the enemy units of weapons teams are pretty darn fragile, and it looks like we can do plenty of damage to them, even as they attempt to do damage to us. Anyway, as I was saying, we are... Ooh, rattling guns firing into the Blobosaurus, and it's gonna hurt, but we do have shields. Ooh. So maybe we really could use a war drum from the Cathans. Anyway, the rats are gonna fire away at us with warp lightning screaming overhead as well. And while I shouldn't be praising the Skaven in a Lizardmen campaign, I always do love watching their weapons teams do their work, whether it be the Giselles or the warp lightning cannons or the rattling guns. Anyway, we'll exchange fire between them and the turtles, which well, severely damaged them at this point. And at the same time, as I said, we have peeled away some of our units, including our Saurus Scarvet here, to sort of protect the Slan Mage Priest from dying. And the 3 units of Saurus we have peeled away to join the rest of them to help the Slan out. In the meantime, to make sure that Nakai doesn't die, we have sent in our Skink Priest here, who is popping off the Flocks of Doom on to damage the enemy, and then we'll obviously be using both Pan's Impenetrable Pelt, the Curse of Anra here, and the Wissen's Wild Form to buff our allies and debuff the enemies and make sure that they carry the day here. And maybe even the occasional Amber Spear into the big boy here, depending on how long it takes the enemy to tear down a Rotting Leviathan. Nice to see a Dread Saurian now as well. Ooh, beautiful. I mean, it's always nice to see a Dread Saurian. They're such late-game units that you rarely get to play with them as much as you'd like in campaigns. Anyway, a nice little Amber Spear coming in from our Skink Chief. The Rotting Leviathan's down to about 25% of its HP at the current time, though I do notice that the Dread Saurian is getting quite pincushioned here, unsurprisingly. Man, it's funny, because of this mod, I mean, I used to be so, like, ludicrously impressed with the, I'm just impressed with the bulk of the Dread Saurians, and they're still big, but now that we've seen that Thunder Lizard, which is, like, this tall, it's not quite the same effect. But anyway, our Wizard, our Skink Priest, has made sure that we have carried the day, or Nakai has carried the day, and is not under major threat. Our Turtles have defeated the enemy units of weapons teams. It does look like these things have a tendency to target single units, so they're kind of bad at targeting mobs or blobs. That is due to them targeting sort of a single point, they have a tendency to only kill like 1 or 2 units, you know what I mean? This is all 5 of them firing at a single blob. And obviously they have no penetration. But against single entities, that's probably where we want to make use of them a little bit more. At least so far as I can tell. We'll need to experiment with them more, because we haven't had time to. Ooh, somebody remind me, I gotta give these guys names. There's a very, very uploaded comment to name them after the Ninja Turtles. So that's what we're gonna do. Anyway, in the meantime, the Slan, who got damaged by the First Lord being here, is still in the fight, and it looks like Luther Harkin is moving towards him now. We're going to leave the Legion of Tlaqua in front of everybody and start facing off against Luther Harkin as we try to knock him out of the sky. 1 Amber Spear and 1 blast from the Troglodon, or Skink Oracle. I'm going to try our best to do damage to him with what we have available. We don't have too much anti-air available without the turtles, but you know what? It's time to start moving them towards Luther Harkin, as it looks like the Skaven have been defeated, and whatever Nakai was facing off against has been defeated as well. Wow, those horned ones have been pretty much destroyed, and so much so there's that Dread Saurian, but with only 1 enemy army remaining, it's not nearly as bad. Another Amber Spear comes in, doing barely any damage to Luther Harkin. What's your magic resistance? It didn't even noticeably really move his HP. Okay, can I just... Okay, there we go. 70% miss... Okay, that explains that. I was wondering why he was taking no hurt from all the spells. But all good. He's taking hurt from other things. The Skink Oracle is doing plenty. A few javelins coming down upon him from the rest of our units, and he should fall out of the sky soon. Before most of his army has still reached us. Is yet to reach, whatever. Anyway, while Luther falls to the ground below, and ooh, actually taken out by that last Amber Spear, very nice, we are moving into the rest of the fight. Unfortunately, here we have Depth Guard facing up against Blessed Source, who were just at full HP and are now at 25% maybe. It's it's a bad matchup for them, and just plain bad matchup. So we're gonna try to get them out of there, and hopefully they don't die, because they are a Blessed Source warrior unit. Otherwise, our Juradon has arrived. And we've got more units moving in, including the turtles getting ready to get close and then set up their ranged attacks. We do have a few more in the way of enemy range units flying around, as in the deck droppers. We'll see how effective we are against them with the turtle guns, as well as against that Necrofex Colossus. Although with Nikai moving in to reinforce, all of the armies are now consolidating. Oh, there's a second Necrofex Colossus back there too. Oh, and I love Necrofex Colossus. Every time I see any vampire unit, I just want to play vampires. Any excuse to play vampires. Why no vampires in this DLC? Come on, CA. Anyway. Balance of power is at about 70% in our favor, though generally speaking that doesn't mean all that much in quest battles due to all the reinforcements that can come in. I don't imagine there are more forthcoming now. The Slan Mage Priest has moved into the biggest blob of enemies towards the frickin' Rotting Leviathan and to the Depth Guard and whatnot, so we're just moving everything we can to protect him and keeping both of our Reviv crystals near him as well, as the battle is a loss if this idiot gets himself killed. Fortunately, though, it looks like we do damage faster than the enemy does. The Rotting Leviathan is just about out of the picture, and gets sort of punted or killed off by the Dread Saurian. It may be low on HP, but with the presence of the Reviv crystals, and the fact that it has a huge HP pool, meaning that it recovers a lot of HP with every second of healing, and it's pretty darn good. Looks like the Rotting Leviathan, there we go, a blast from all the turtles at once brings the ship crashing down. And it looks like only a few more units will remain. Nice simultaneous blast from all the turtle guns. Alright, we got some javelins moving on to those deck droppers now. And there's those turtle guns. It looks like they have the same issue where they also kind of target the single unit. It's the same, the same issue is kind of what separates a good light cav, generally speaking, or skirmisher cav from bad skirmisher cav. For example, the... what were they called? Kosovite Horse Archers. They have this tendency to not sort of spread their shots out in a group of enemies, but instead to target a single unit. It makes them generally decent at targeting single targets, but then awful at skirmishing against cavalry or skirmishing against, well, enemy blobs of infantry or anything like that, because, you know, when all of your, like 60 guys magically somehow target one guy in a blob of 120, not only is it silly, as it would never happen, but also it makes that unit ineffective. Anyway, the turtles seem to do the same kind of deal, but that just means we'll be using them to target single entities and more. Anyway, the Necrofex Colossus is just about done disgorging a crew of deckhand mobs. That means it dropped below 25% HP unless I'm mistaken. Or is it 50%? It's 25%ish to me. And a couple more hits should bring it down and give the battle to us. And it looks like the Slan survived. Oh, I do like seeing the Necrofex Colossus with a light behind it like that. And though I guess we're about to see it topple with the light behind it, and almost looked like the turtles got to snipe this thing as well, just as they did the other necrophags. Anyway, with that, the battle is done. The Slan did get below half HP, but we healed him up later, though it was obviously a little bit dangerous when it decided to melee the Rotting Leviathan because reasons. Alright, there we go. I really gotta say, I was starting to dislike that Lord Schultep there at the end, or actually not even before the end. He kept moving towards the enemy, putting himself in danger, and it's one of those escort quest missions where he has to survive. At least Nakai wasn't as likely to get killed by anything, though we, had to move to help both of them out. Anyway, between 5 and 10,000 damage on the Chirpin Gunner teams, which is decent. I mean, the Bastildons with Revive Crystals were in the fight the entire time, and so was the Juradon, so they basically outdamaged or were on par with our dinos, our single entity dinos. And while it's not a crazy amount of damage, considering their tankiness and the fact that they knocked out the enemy Skaven weapons teams for us, I think it's pretty solid. Obviously, the massive amount of damage on the Blessosaurus warriors with maces, significantly more than most of the spear ones, just by virtue of the fact that they had the the bleed application. The Blessed Saurus warriors with shields here on the leftmost flank, I guess, they got kind of obliterated by an enemy unit of Depth Guard with polearms, but it's a bad matchup for the Saurus, so that should hardly be of any surprise. Now, we can't quite heal to full because this unit will be damaged either way, so we may as well take the money then. Alright, Kidnapper for Gor-rok, sure. Stegodon for Zlatota. Who is Zlatota? Is that you? It is you. Alright, you can stay on that, you can stay on that beastie, I guess. Admittedly, I don't dislike the idea of you on the Pterodon either. Both are fine options, and there we go, Shield of Aeons. And oh, this will give us charge defense and charge reflection as well, which is kind of why we got the Juradon, funnily enough. I should have taken a look at this. Though admittedly, this is only for 30 seconds with a 120 second cooldown, so basically only useful when they charge, and their range is only 40 meters, so it's actually even less on that charge defense on these guys. But all good. And we got that casualty or punishment rate and immunity to attrition and whatnot. All useful stuff. Anyway, Gor-rok. I guess... I mean, I still kind of want you to fight the Dread Fleet. I wonder how much we heal in the water, just out of curiosity. Pretty much the same amount. Alright, beautiful. So you can start moving, and... Oh, you're immune to attrition now. Will you still heal in the Great Ocean the same amount? Not quite the same, but over the 2 turns, you'll... Yeah, you move, you're good. Alrighty, and then we can put Mr. Sinclair into an army. Your primal vigor... Oh. Well, I mean, we can still put you into an army that might need an ancient or a regular Stegodon, because you're one of those, essentially. Yeah. Alrighty, anyway, let's start going through the top, shall we? So Izozyme is where he's supposed to be. Zlatota kind of is as well. Basically, any spare units will have to go to one of these guys. What do we have here? So you are going to have the Bird Army, and that's these guys, and we will... I mean, did we give you the Archaeopteryx? I'm actually not sure about that. Mostly because, I mean, Archaeopteryx are feathered lizards, right? They're not quite birds. As in, they're not at that part of the, they haven't evolved to that point yet. So maybe we should put them in another army. Either way, Digga, your army is a rather specific kind. Do we keep the Skink Chiefs in your army? I don't know. It completely depends on whether we have them. You know what? We will need Skinks with Javelins in this army, so let's move you northward. I mean, all of you have to move northward anyway. You will stay here, though, because you need to be traded some of these troops, and then extra versions or extra troops will be sent southward. I guess we can go up to the Isthmus, then. Alright, then, Mazda, you are waiting 1 turn for the Honor Guard of Heshwatla, so you can go here and channel a little bit, and then I guess you can go here for a little bit as well. Not sure that we need some of these extras, but we do have some decent stuff here. Oh, I'm kind of mixing and matching on our Skink Chiefs as well, which is Yeah, we'll deal with it. Anyway, Mazda, assuming that we have these, we have room for 2 more Temple Guard, which puts us at 18 out of 20. And then 1 sword... Ooh, wait, if we're at 18 out of 20, we won't have enough space for both Bastillodons with the Reviv Crystal, will we? Because we need 1 special Temple Guard and I guess 1 more of these Temple Guard. And you're a Temple Guard guy, so maybe we'll do 5 of the Duradon then. Alright, fine. We'll give the extra Duradon to somebody else. I knew it was going to be 5. Gonna be a while until these guys upgraded to C-Beam as well. But I think that's the army. Alright, and then we'll give him a Saurus with the Star Gift as well. Oracle could be nice, but Oracles can always be nice. Anyway. Whatever. You have 2 points available to you. Might as well get honor guards. Missile strength, speed, and weapon strength and melee. I think the missile strength is more valuable in this army, so we'll do Slan Fury first. Admittedly, we also should get Slan Force Field, but there's a lot of good stuff in both of them. Anyway, you are going through combat reflexes, and that hasn't changed. Now we are going to attack Ervil, and you're at war with the Spirit of the Jungle. Well, might as well ask the Spirit of the Jungle to join this. Huh. The main issue with this is that it will make the Spirit of the Jungle stronger, which will make them... Wow, the strength rank 4. I fear Nakai might not want to confederate, but we'll see. I'm still gonna say join this. I just can't trust them here. I don't like the fact that they've moved in beside these guys. They could declare war on us or on them, and it's better to just deal with them. Alrighty. And now I assume that your units are gonna get seduced. I wonder which ones it will be. Okay, they're gonna run. Yes, and that's why it was weird that they were here in the first place, but yeah, let's try that again. Which unit's gonna get seduced? No unit's gonna get seduced. Huh, that's surprising. Well, we're gonna fight this because we haven't had the opportunity to fight a lot of Slaaneshi, and I feel like oh, it's because there's no Slaaneshi corruption in this particular territory, and that increases the budget by, like, massive amounts. Yeah, alright, fair enough, fight. Alrighty, here we go. I may have been thinking of leaving the Slaaneshi to Shiotla, but it might still be pretty interesting to see how we fare against them with the Fire Army as well, as the enemy can certainly rush us. They do have a favorable position in some ways up on this hill, and I only say in some ways because it's not like we're going to be climbing that hill. We have plenty of range available to us with our pile of dinos, Salamander, or well, whichever particular fire engine or Chotek engine, Beam of Chotek, whatever. We have, anyway, as speaking of the beams of Chotek, or specifically speaking of the sea beams, they've been switched to focus down the Great Chaos Dragon, which has taken a decent bit of damage. I'm going to help out with the regular beams of Chotek a little bit, but keep firing our lasers at it, and thereafter knock it out of the sky. Beautiful. And does look like the enemy are starting to make their way down the hill now, realizing that we're not coming up, perhaps. We've done massive amounts of damage as well to the enemy blobs of Demonettes in particular with our Nova engines, as they've been focusing those demonic units down and relying on the pretty darn decent damage that they've got. Alrighty, does look like at least one very dangerous unit is going to make its way towards us, and it is a unit of Chaos Knights, which are going to smash into some of those Blessed Saurus while attempting to give chase to the Blessed Ancient Salamander. On the bright side, though, by the time the enemy has reached us, the balance of power has already shifted to about 90% in our favor, and due to the sheer amount of range damage dealt. The enemy attempted to move towards us with some Seeker Chariots, but the Yamaburo Riders with their anti-large tore them to shreds. And, oh, wow, that was a very, okay. Don't do that, Nova Engine. And, actually the C-Beam seemed to have hit the spawn of Slaanesh without damaging the Saurus. Oh, actually, that's an interesting point, now that I think about it. Whereas the Nova Engines have a massive explosion radius and would be very dangerous to fire close range to your own units, the C-Beams have a very tiny sort of area of effect. So they wouldn't be nearly as dangerous to your own units if firing close to your formation. Well, that'll be good for Mazda Monday because that's where we're using them, or we're gonna be using them. Anyway. How we doing otherwise? Balance of power. Oh, well, we're done. The enemy got torn to shreds and burned up as well. And you also got to remember that the damage that our range units do in this army is buffed up by a fairly considerable margin, as we typically use the combination of the Flaming Sword of Ruin as well as the Blazing Sword of Ruin army-bound ability that we, you'd normally see on the side here, that the Fire Slan gives. So we double up on them, and then everybody's firing at like twice the damage here, so you can tell why the enemies have a tendency to melt long before they get to us. Anyway, nice fight. Alrighty, there we go. Another solid fight, and now we're at 100 alignments again. Gotta use them somewhere, but yeah, very nice fight. A little bit of damage to the Salamander Hunting Pack. Some solid sniping for the C-Beams this time. One of them getting 17,000 damage and keeping pace with the Nova engines. 7 and 7 for the Solar Engine regular variants, although one of them, despite having less damage, did have a even more damage dealt as gold value than both of the Nova engines. And one of the C-Beams array, again, it really just depends on what kind of units you target, and these guys are more likely to target things like Chaos Spawn, Chaos Knights, Chaos Dragons, etc., rather than the infantry piles. So yeah, anyway, we'll take the money because we're nearly at full HP anyway. Like so, and yeah, I just wanted to check this. Yeah, plus 100% seduction budget, so there's that. Dragonfly of Quicksilver, Vanguard deployment. I wonder if this might come in handy in any army. We shall see. You could... wait. Oh, we're immune to attrition for a couple of turns, aren't we? Yeah, so we're actually safe to move here. Isn't it lovely? Oh, I should have tried to put you in an ambush stance and tried to bait this guy into attacking you. They'll probably go after this place anyway, but no. Too late to put you in ambush, right? Yeah. We could put you in here. We could put Mazda Conquest in, but I don't think it's gonna help. All good though. They can sack it. I don't really mind all that much. Also, yeah, the Slaneshi corruption is not gonna drop just because of this. Oh well. Not a big deal. Now, these places, lovely as they are, I was going to trade them to the elves, and I think that's still going to be the case. Just want to double check if there's any Diplo that is of worth to us right now, and I don't think so. Alright. I just want to trade these so that it's a little bit of a reduction in admin. So, you can have Bontalo, like so, but give us your money.
I control the flow.
Yeah, you control the flow. And Tiger Cage. And Tiger Cage Isle as well. Oh, that's all your money. We could wait. You know what, let's wait. We can ignore this for now, and then maybe get a little bit more cash out of them. 10,000 gold's not too bad, so, you know. Anyway, Zlatata, you're fine. We already checked you earlier. Tahanoan, you can move again as well. It was a good time to grab that mysterious island and then move on to Fel Cargo and then grab the other islands before you... Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Before the anti-attrition thing comes back. No Skull Islands around here, right? I don't think so. Mushroom Stew, and then get as close to this as possible. Gentleman Jenkins might try to attack you, but even in March stance, you'd obliterate him. Alright, good. Keep on moving. I find Tiktaq'to with 300 armor so amusing. Anyway, Shiotla, you are besieging now. I would have loved for you to have moved. I mean, we could attack the place. It's not walled. That way we would save one turn. These guys could immediately then try to attack us afterwards. This army isn't really meant for fighting not on the field. Oh, alright, this is where I wanted to spend alignments. That reminds me. You know, we don't have to move everybody. I'd rather them sally out. I think it's better to have Oshiotla fight in the field. He's not really a settlement kind of guy. Anyway, Quetgar. Is there somewhere you gotta be to reduce construction costs? Ah, here. So let's go down to Oishal. Just enough time to do that. And then back to Itza, I guess, afterwards. And we'll also give you an army eventually. We got a few other armies cooking. Alright, Mazda's fine, Izozyme is fine, Gorteja is waiting to be replaced, and then we've got the other tech thieves that can move, but don't really need to unless I'm mistaken, with the exception of you and you. Tech Thief 1, go here. Cricket, you are supposed to join Tyrannicon, who... Why didn't you... go all the way. Slaanesh Giggle. Go here. And that completes Tyrannicon's army. And just gotta find some foes after we complete all the expeditions. Anyway, we got a little bit of gold to be spending. Let's spend it. Alright, so North Isle, you can probably collect the income now. Piranha Swamps, what do we have here? Yeah, you can start collecting income. And let's upgrade Talashland while we're at it. The Lumber Yard and the Money Yard. The Croxagore whatever district. You can collect money as well. We will still need the... you're never going to make a lot of money, but, you know. Mostly... Ooh, yes. Up to tier 5, and that means you can start collecting the money as well, because we don't need any further growth. Beautiful. This place is fine. We need the extra growth in the single settlements. Nobler country... Yeah, we're going to... wall you up. Let's upgrade you, but then not collect the money. High Sentinel, we will eventually... I guess we can collect the money now. And then I guess we just keep... Well, we'll build the Skink Favelas, make a little bit of cash out of it. I mean, why not, right? Sacred Pools, and good for you. Don't collect money because you need it for growth. Ivory Road, you will eventually collect money, but... I mean, honestly, you could probably start. You'll still probably be maxed out in terms of your cash very, very soon. Also, you don't need this here. Jungles of Green Mist. Well, let's upgrade you. And free to collect money. You should grow on your own. Tiger Cage Isle, you will be traded, and I'm not touching you. We could collect money from here while we're at it, right? I mean, something. Anything else here? No. Alright, so, Jungles of Pawalasha, you can... Oh, you are already collecting money. Yes. Alrighty, go for the Lotus Gathering Camp, the Croxagore Labor District. We'll upgrade, I don't know, Swamp Town first. It doesn't really matter over much. And we'll go for the Geomantic Pylon, I guess. Yeah. Isle of Lions. You are not... I mean, you... I guess you won't need the Floating Gardens here. And because, I mean, yeah, you're bordering one territory. Well, actually, in theory, you will eventually be bordering 2 territories, won't you? So maybe this will be worth it. Alright, fine. If we confederate this, it'll be worth it. If we don't, then it won't be. But we'll find out when someday. Anyway, we're out of money, so there's nothing else we can do, so we can skip, and presumably get attacked at least once, possibly twice. Maybe even an expedition to... Ooh, hello. Skull Island. That's still useful, even on turn 90. We aren't the dwarfs making, what was it, 8 million gold per turn? Oh, what a ridiculous campaign Thorgrim had. Alrighty, and maybe I should have spent more of the alignments, because now I feel like we're gonna get over 100 again over the course of the sand turn. Nikai! Hey, your strength... Oh, he just jumped to strength rank 9. He was strength rank 4 before. This means he must have lost one of his armies. Damn it, and we have the Confederation debuff still going. He probably would have confederated here. Well, that's unfortunate. But we had to have Crocky, right? Alright. Oh! It gets claws going to... Oh, I wonder if he had a full stack sitting here at Nuha and is going to try to go after Tehenna. We were sending Tehenna after him anyway. Is that what he's trying to do? Well, he can't reach us, it seems. You know, one of the sort of low-key best things about Tlaqua is the massive campaign line of sight bonus that the faction gets, because we can even see that there's effectively no fog of war on the map anywhere near us, so we can see enemies coming a mile away. It's really nice. Anyway, I mean, we'll go like this. I was wondering whether we should maybe swap the slow death to Shiotlik himself, because Vessel's strength is still shockingly low, especially compared to the Expedition Lords. Maybe if we give him some items like that Talayan Pavis and some other stuff, maybe he'll get it up a little bit better. Let that shit giggle. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Sheotless sending his piles of skinks forward, or chameleon skinks forward, well, and regular skinks, because there's skirmishers in here as well, to do their work. Let's see how they do. Gotta love all the little arm toads on the chameleon skinks. It's just great. Anyway, we're going to, in theory, have a pretty major advantage in theory again against the forces of Khorne due to their relatively slow speed compared to the chameleon skinks. That said, we are outnumbered 2-1, and generally these armies don't do nearly as well when they're outnumbered by the enemy. A, and B, the enemy does have a lot of fast-moving creatures. So what we do have available to us is the fact that the other army, the second army, the reinforcing army, there we go, is gonna take a little bit to get to us, so we have the time to hopefully at least knock out the dogs of the first army before we start facing off against the second. Anyway, looks like Ashotlik has pretty much killed off the enemy lord at this point. He did manage to close the distance with him just a little bit, but it looks like he shattered just as he moved on in, and somebody please knock him down. Ashotla, don't... Please kill him. Somebody kill him, guys. Maybe the Skink Chief will do it. Send him... There we go. Alright, so Skink Chief manages to bring him down by firing into his back. Good. Anyway, our Parasaurs continue sort of moving with these Skinks, chucking their javelins at the enemy as we retreat and skirmish away. And it looks like the first enemy army is in very bad shape now, and in fact, nearly destroyed. Well, we have taken effectively no damage whatsoever. One of our Chameleon Stalker units did get into it with some Fleshhounds and lost 20 units, but that's pretty much about it, damage-wise. Are a few single entities still moving towards us, a big old meatball and a Blood Reaper running around, but they're having a generally bad day nonetheless, and the Troglodyons are pretty solid at sniping them. We do focus the Blood Reaper first, mostly because it's, I don't know. It's more threatening, I guess, and this big boy's an easier target for the Chameleon Skinks, which, there we go, bring it down. Lovely. I do love all the different poisons giving us lots of different sort of effect types on our various arrows. I like to mix and match. There we go. Looks like a unit of Forsaken is still heading towards us. No, that's a unit of Marauders of Khorne with dual axes, but doesn't really matter. There'll be a blow dart riddled corpses in moments anyway. Never having reached the Chameleon Skinks and gotten into combat. Now, the second army has arrived, and there's plenty more doggos where that came from. Blessed Fleshhounds. In a way, I guess all Fleshhounds are blessed by Khorne, but anyway, the Fleshhounds and regular doggos alike, and they're gonna charge forth. Let's see what we can do. We don't have a crazy amount of magical damage on this army, just on a couple of units, but we do have a lot of different contact effects that we can rely on. And of course, should the enemy get close enough, our Oracles and Troglodons should be able to force the enemy's charge to fail. Actually, they're sort of the first line of forcing the enemy charge to fail, like so. Now, the second line is if our Chameleon Skinks do get reached, then we send in the Parasaurs, which can block the enemy off because of their mass, and prevent the enemy from charging through our Chameleon Skinks. But so far, nobody has actually managed to make it past the Troglodons. And even then, only a couple of times have we actually forced to use the Troglodons to block the enemy off. This one, just judging by the HP damage it's taken, is the only one so far. Otherwise, we're pretty good. It looks like most of the dogs have been destroyed, and while a decent amount of bloodletters do remain, they are not fast enough to actually be a threat to us. What is a threat, however, is that skull cannon firing away at us, trying to send those Riperdactyls to block it, but it does look like the enemy kept a bloodletter unit with it to protect it. Good for the AI, I suppose. Anyway, Flocks of Doom obviously can continue coming down upon the enemy, and out of curiosity, where's our... Well, I was about to say, where's our Oracle, but there's two Oracles, and who knows which one's been casting more, and yeah. I'm sure they're doing good damage, is what I'm saying. And especially in this particular situation, they haven't been needing to use a lot of their mana to heal, because, well, the enemy is failing to close the distance, generally. And thus, we can freely use that mana to do damage instead. Alright, there we go. Parasaurs are probably blocking at least some of those Chameleon Skinks from firing, so be careful. guys are pretty big after all. Alright, a few more enemy units charging towards us. We are only about halfway through the map. We could continue retreating for a while yet, and thanks to the buffs, we have plenty of ammunition in Oshiotla's army on all of the skink units, and thus they're unlikely to run out very soon, like that. Feels forever ago now, like that battle against the Tomb Kings. That defensive fight where all of our skirmishers and skinks ran out of ammunition, and that was, you know, the bulk of that defensive army, which was bad. Okay, anyway, bounce powers at about 85, closing in on 90% in our favor. Javelins and blow darts continue raining down on the poor bloodletters who are going to fail at taking any skulls, by the looks of it, or at least taking too many. That darn frickin' skull cannon, though, we just couldn't manage to destroy it with the Ripperdactyl, so it has been doing some damage. Oh well. The walls and the walls of skinks are closing in around the enemy now. Their numbers are dwindling, and now the blow darts aren't just hitting them in the front, they're hitting them in both sides and soon in the rear as well. Though it looks like with that the enemy army begins to shatter, the last few units similarly slowly moving towards us, 13 move speed. Desperately trying to get to that Troglodyte, but it's got, what, 65, 70 speed? Actually, it's got like 80, doesn't it? A little over 80. Well, they ain't catching it, that's what I'm getting at. It only needed to move into melee against the dog units. And there we go. With that, the bloodletters melt, the last of the war bikes explode, and the enemy armies, both of them, are done for, with us having suffered basically no damage. Fantastic. Well, that's Oshiotla and his army for you, as well as the piles of chameleon skinks. They do good work. Alrighty, there we have it. No damage of real significance to our army, and this is kind of what I was talking about, potentially going after Slaanesh with Oshiotla instead of Khorne, because Khorne isn't going to be a major threat unless they're specifically built to counter this type of army. Their regular troops are just too slow. And admittedly, they did have a ton of doggos in their second army, so that was dangerous, but at the end of the day, not dangerous enough. Anyway, we got 18k damage on Oshiotla, not too bad. He killed the enemy lord, I believe, as well. 14k and 17k on the two skink oracles, 24 and 22 on the blessed chameleon stalkers, and then 32, 50, and 21 on the various chameleon skinks with the special essences. So by it looks like the magical damage, Demon Bane, and the discouraging effect. How'd that happen? Did exactly the same amount of damage. That one surprises me, because I would have expected to have much higher damage from the magical damage on the demonic forces. The slow death, completely unsurprisingly, did way more than the rest, but that's the best one. And then the one that's just armor sundering, and did the least. And it's also fire damage, and maybe that's not the most effective thing against Khorne. Then we got 35,000 damage, 20, 21, and 20 on the various plus skink skirmishers, one of which outdid all but one of the units of chameleon skinks. Nice. That's the blessing of Huan Chi working for you once again, as that bleed makes them pretty nasty. Feral Trogs got 15 and 11, and we got 16, 9, 9, and 7k on the various Parazors. But yeah, they applied their lethal poison, they did their jobs, and in a pinch were able to move into melee as well. I like them here. Solid work. And oh, I thought some of the enemy would have survived. Apparently not. Occupy. And yeah, unsurprisingly, these guys are going to attack this place, but yeah, I don't care. They're not going to occupy it because they're too scared. And it looks like these guys will indeed sally out. With those black dragons and those hydras and whatnot, we have fought this particular army composition in the past, but I just can't say no to seeing those Mechapleurodons go at it again. Slaaneshi giggle, go. Alright, missed the little mini speech from the skink, I guess, but, well, at the same time, I guess it doesn't matter over much, because I don't think we can understand what the heck they're saying. Anyway, we've got another one of these elite Dark Elven garrisons against us, but this time it's on a map with water everywhere, and thus pain for the enemy. I'm sure we'll have our Macapleurodon massively buffed up by the Leviathan trait, giving them regeneration, and a stronger regeneration trait than base regeneration, I suppose, plus missile resistance and vigor per second, meaning basically regeneration, perfect vigor. They're very strong in water, go figure. It's a water beast after all. Anyway, we're gonna start the battle off nonetheless by sending our ancient stag riding skinks, probably for the last time on, well, last or second last time on these before we switch them out. Just to mince those poor dread spears and kill off the enemy lord real quick while we set the rest of the army up. Gotta do something after all until the enemy reinforcements get here. Also remember, it's not just the Macapleurodon that take advantage of the water. Our entire army, with the exception of the Stegodon, do. And thus we get that. I don't remember what the exact buff is. It's like a 20% buff for the aquatic units in general. And then, of course, we have the significant increase in range for the Nuatla as well. There we go. Putting them up to 175. Not quite Beam of Chotek range, which is 250, but still pretty darn solid. They can get into a shootout with most enemy range units, thusly, and tear them to shreds. Especially as they are high damaging. Just gotta make sure that we don't let the enemy hit them with another flock of doom as they got hit, well, last time we fought this type of army. Anyway, we are set up nicely, getting ready for the enemy to move on in. Our Macapleurodon are waiting in the shallows. But we're gonna start this off against the real army, against the enemy Black Dragon. Gonna get a Amber Spear into the Black Dragon's face, and then just start peppering it with javelins from our Pterodons, and of course backing off as it attempts to move towards them. Alright, and oh, looks like both Black Dragons will give chase, but that's alright. Our Nuatl are going to go after the enemy Cold One Dread Knights as they move towards us. Slowed by the shallow water, slowed by the tide call, soon to be slowed by the poison as well, down to 35 move speed. Standard infantry move speeds, and then they'll get into range of Frostbite as well, putting them down to 7 move speed, and they're basically stuck, bogged down in the shallow water, and soon to be torn to shreds. Admittedly, they are going to absorb a fair amount of damage. They are heavily armored and shielded as well, at the very least until they turn. But that's a lot of enemies that are going to get bogged down behind them as well as we slow the entire line down. Yeah, such a huge advantage for our army in the water. Huh, one of them peeled away from the main line. Oh, there's another one. And ooh, there's the Hydra Breath on some of our units, and a Black Dragon Breath matching it on the right flank. But here comes the Macapleurodon. Ready to meet the enemy Hydra in combat as well. Alright, there we go. The big beasties clash, and of course the Dread Knights and Black Garden Executioners will fight around them. And it looks like they will actually peel away to go after the enemy infantry piles, which is fine. We've got the second Macapleurodon facing off against the other units of Cold One Dread Knights. It looks like a War Hydra Breath gets partially blocked by this Macapleurodon. Word Macapleurodon has lost all meaning. And then a second Hydra for it to fight. Otherwise, the bounce power is at about 70% in our favor now, and the enemy are still moving towards us, but they're all pretty darn heavily damaged at this point. One of the Black Dragons has been brought down by the combination of Ripperdactyls and just knocked out of the sky by the Pterodons, and it looks like we're just about done here. A little bit more action against the War Hydras. Charybdis would have probably been a more appropriate opponent for the Macapleurodon there, but all good. Alright, and it looks like with that the infantry are booking it on out of there. The Death Hag will shatter and the battle is ours. A few of the enemies will make their way out of the shallow water, and at last we can deliver them a watery grave. Still waiting on Manticore Riders in this army, though. Not that it obviously will function significantly differently once it has them. They're just going to do the exact same thing that the Pterodon Riders are doing, but slightly better, you know? But of course they will also have the slowdown application. I guess one unfortunate aspect of putting the Skink Chiefs off of the Stegs will be the loss of lethal poison, which we otherwise don't have, and the loss of regular poison. Admittedly, we do have regular poison on 2 of the regular Skink cohorts with Javelins, if you've been wondering why I kept 2 regular Skink cohorts rather than just going for all Blessed Skink cohorts, considering they're pretty cheap. But yeah, it's just for the poison. They also have lower melee defense thanks to the blessing of Tonki on the blessed guys, which have 90 melee defense, and thus we just, you know, keep them behind them. Anyway, battle is done. We'll chase the enemy down and probably destroy the vast majority. Alrighty, there we go. Finally a map with some water, seeing us absolutely take advantage of that, and the enemy get destroyed with, I mean, all things considered, comparatively little damage. We still have a main line of skinks and all that, but the enemy even had a difficult time reaching it between the slowdown from the Nahuatlas and the skinks, and the Mechapleurodon acting as a lovely sort of line anchors. This one did 9,000 damage, but we can see that the damage at this Gold Valley at 1,400 is matching the Nahuatl, because this one, I believe, was fighting in... First it was fighting an unit of Blackguard of Nagaron, and then it was fighting, I think, one of the Hydras, or one of the big boys, basically. So, yeah, worked out very, very nicely, and they still look fantastic. A very nice fight. Really enjoyed that one. I guess we will heal up. I mean, we'll auto-resolve this, but we're not healing currently, and the monetary reward is relatively minimal, so... not the most critical thing. Alrighty, and Boris Merciless, what do you want? Merciless? No mercy for Merciless. Decline. Alright, are we gonna have another one of these little Kislev fights? We are... No, we aren't. Huh? I am somewhat confused. The Boyar returns, now leading a band of ogre mercenaries, I see. This time he pushes past the border without besieging the outpost. A smoking volcano is casting ash across the jungle. He gazes upward, wanting to believe that it is falling snow. When his eyes fall, they are wet and unfocused. I have been a fool. I had believed. A land where time itself stands frozen and no disease or illness can worsen. But it is just a place. I ask only for my daughter to know I had tried, that I regret having failed her. What do you mean at the land where time... Okay, time itself stands frozen, yeah, okay, I can see Lustria being that, but no disease or illness? Lustria is... The Lustrian jungle is famous for giving people that try to, you know, rob it horrific diseases. Constantly. And... what? I don't know. Anyway, an ogre strikes him down. They have figured out he has nothing to pay them with. They start to feast on him. We cannot allow such creatures to roam here. I don't know, it's kind of natural to feast upon, whatever. Prepare to attack. Okay, now, unfortunately, guys, I don't have time to fight this particular battle this episode, so we are going to have to end the episode here and continue on towards this next time around. Oh, huh, they have a... is that the remnants of the other army? Yeah, go figure. Maybe I guess we could have pieced out with them after all, because this is a different faction. Fun, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna call the episode here. We will start off immediately with the battle next time around and face off against a pile of ogres. We've got a Mornfang Cav. Honestly, this is kind of a weak army. But what's the likelihood we fight more ogres all the time? It is a lot of them. They do have some Mornfangs, which we haven't seen a lot, and the Gorgers are ridiculously overpowered for their cost. Yeah, alright, fine. We'll fight it. We'll fight it at the start of next episode. And thus, stay tuned for that, and hopefully the completion of this particular mission. And don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.